Can you still see me?
I can, yep. All right, I think we're live. I'm just going to make sure that this actually works on Facebook. Once in a while it gets disconnected. Yep, we're good. Okay. All right, so we will go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another City Live Updates. I'm Jamie Chavez, your host with the Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and we're thrilled to have you with us today. Thanks for joining. As always, we're here to bring you the latest from City Hall, featuring conversations with our councilors, mayor, and mayor pro tem. And it is your backstage pass to what's happening in Westminster. So if this is your first time joining us, thanks for joining. We're glad to have you here with us. I encourage you to like our Facebook page so that you will get notifications for when we go live in the future. And if you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and receive notifications or be able to watch all of our previous broadcasts there. Mondays on the broadcast are all about city updates, and on Wednesdays we offer a chance to meet some of the newest members of the chamber and learn about their businesses. So I encourage you to join us for those broadcasts as well. This Wednesday at 11, I'll be live with Cover Tech, and I'm excited for them to be able to share with you a little bit about their business and what they do and bring to the community. And we also reserved the last Friday, one Friday of the month. We're still working on which one, and it could vary, for Jefferson County Commissioner Rachel Zenzinger. So please stay tuned for that for broader county matters in Jefferson County. And then we are also going to be adding Adams County Commissioner Steve Ordericio to the broadcast as well. So stay tuned to those as well. As you watch the broadcast this morning, please feel free to engage with us, ask any questions, say hi, drop any comments in the comment section, and we will get to those during the interview. And I will quit talking now and give a warm welcome to City Councilor Ezeadi. How are you today?
I'm great. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you great. We've got a few people joining us. Good afternoon, Dave. And good afternoon, Brian. Thanks for joining us today. How are you today? You're in the car, so you're transitioning from one thing to the next?
Yeah, I'm coming from my EMT training. Still doing that. So I'm in my final 12 days of my EMT training. It's been 4 months now. And as some of you know, it's my first step in my firefighter journey. So very exciting, very stressful times. And I was pulling out of class and I said, oh, wait, I got a thing to do. So I pulled over to the side and here I am.
Well, it's not the first time I've interviewed a counselor from their car, so I know
Great.
You all are busy.
Never want to be first. I never want to be first with that, no.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting that you're going through that process. Maybe you can speak a little bit more to that. I'm doing the Firemen's Citizens Academy, which you were there at that first one that I went to, and that's been really enlightening so far. Very much enjoying it, and just kind of getting to see some of the behind the scenes of the fire department and what they do. So I don't know, maybe you'd like to chat a little bit about what you're going through.
Yeah, first of all, that Citizens Academy that the fire department puts on, I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but I think we are one of the few communities in Colorado that puts together such an intense, thorough, it's 8 weeks. It's an 8-week program. And they basically take a group of engaged Jamies, right? And they give these Jamies, they give Jamie this intense, really thorough understanding of how the fire service works, the ins and outs, the background, behind the scenes. So it's really cool. For me, the reason why, why I'm going into fire or wanting to is, as a policymaker, I can help people before their lives are in crisis, right? But as a firefighter, when I show up at your house, it's probably the worst day of your life. And I think it's really important to cover both ends of that spectrum. So that's why I'm doing this. I haven't been on the front lines before, and I'm not getting any younger. So if I want to do it, I got to do it now. So that's why I jumped into it. And I'm really grateful for the community and for my family for supporting me through this journey.
Yeah, well, it's definitely admirable. So congratulations on your progress so far. And you probably have a ways to go, but yeah, that's just really cool. So thank you for, doing that and devoting yourself to that. What do you have for us for an update from City Council?
Well, I think the most relevant and exciting thing would be our forthcoming partnership. So last week, Jamie and Brian and others were in attendance, where City Council gave staff direction to formulate a really exciting public-private partnership between the City of Westminster and the Westminster Chamber of Commerce. It's unique, I believe. I don't know of another one. Jamie, you might correct me if I'm wrong, but in Colorado, it's might be the only one. But we are basically committing and investing $300,000 to the chamber to for the purpose of executing a year-long pilot program that will focus on community events and promotional activities for our new downtown. So
Yeah.
it's really exciting. It's gonna have the list, and Jamie, you can probably speak better to the list, but the list of things coming for our residents, right? So there's gonna be wine tastings, there's gonna be festivals and markets and concerts, right? There's a lot of stuff coming, and I think it's win-win for everyone. It's win-win for the city because we can invest efficiently into the chamber, right? As the sole kind of appropriator and organizer and coordinator, right, of these downtown events. It's win-win for the businesses down there because the whole purpose is to activate that area, right? Increase the foot traffic. um I think it also is a win-win for both the city and the businesses because I really do believe this will bring in more interest from developers and businesses who are looking into potentially investing downtown because we're putting our money where our mouth is, right? Um, and it's win-win for the residents because then the residents will have a portfolio of activities that will really just be exciting and recreational things to do. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It is unique. I don't know of another partnership like this. And one of the cool things about what we're doing with the city and the Downtown Westminster Business Association is it's getting noticed. People around the country are taking note of what we're doing here. And so I've been asked to come and speak about this partnership and what we're doing with you all in the Downtown Westminster Business Association at one of the national chamber conferences. And so it's just really cool, and it speaks volumes to the collaborative spirit that we have here in Westminster. So definitely appreciate that coming from council.
Yeah, so coming soon.
Yeah,
So the actual agreement is being drafted, and I believe it's coming to us on the 28th. Is that the date?
the 28th. Yep, it'll come to
28th.
council for a vote. Yep. Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Besides that, we had our budget town hall on April 3rd. That was really exciting. As many of the residents in the community know, we have a few issues regarding infrastructure, right? And one of the biggest needs right now is our fire department. The fire service has seen 138% increase in emergency calls over the last 20 years, but there's only been a corresponding 12% population growth, right? So we are really overwhelmed with the number of calls. And when you look at the existing infrastructure that um, we have a lot of stations that need rehabilitation. We have two stations that need to be replaced. Um, we need two new fire stations. So there's there are service gaps, a couple service gaps within the city, meaning that our fire um, trucks and services can't get to the call within 4 minutes, and 4 minutes is the best practice standard there. Um, and that's really the area of Orchard Parkway and Central Westminster. Those two areas have service gaps. So we really do need new fire stations. There are three new ones that we need to rehabilitate, and two new ones completely need to be built. So in addition to that, there's also training facilities, right? We have to get our training from other communities, which delays onboarding time. It delays service time because if we're having to travel to train our guys, that doesn't help the service calls that I just mentioned, right? That's been increasing, so that makes it even further for us to actually get to the homes. Um, so the budget town hall was focused on how we can figure out the revenue sources for this infrastructure need and it was really great. We had a lot of the room was packed. We had tables. It was a workshop almost, right, where each counselor was at a different table. There were residents at each table, and we all brainstormed what we can do. Some exciting ideas came out of that, and staff is currently consolidating all of those ideas for us to figure out how we can do this. Now I will say that last week there was a really exciting update that City Council passed through. We we authorized $250,000 to bring on an owner's representative service related to a potential fire station that we can build in that North Huron urban renewal area.
Okay.
So we've identified at least one of those needs of building a new station. I'm really hopeful that that area that we can actually build one there with the money from the URA. And as you guys know, the URA is basically bounded by 128th Avenue, I-25, Huon Street, that area, and it's paid for by the property tax increment revenue from the URA, right? So it's win-win for us that we can use those funds for this purpose, since we know this is a need and we need to spend those funds by 2028. So that's really good news that at least one piece of the fire need is being taken care of. But there is more to come there, right? We do have a lot more need than that. So I'm looking forward to having that discussion with council on how we can fund that, as well as our roads. We have road money to pump in there. We have millions of dollars that we need to find for our roads to keep at the level that we're at now, the quality level.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks. I appreciate for you sharing that. I know a lot of people are kind of wondering what the plan is. So definitely appreciate that. And I know people can reach out to you as well. If maybe they missed the town hall meeting and they've got some ideas. At the end here, I'll post your email and contact information so they can reach out if they'd like to.
Yes, and now is a great time to reach out with budget requests, because as we go through the 2026 process, one of the pieces that we've been emphasizing the last few years is community requests, right? We really want to see dollars prioritized by the community rather than us centrally. Not just everything needs to come through us, but I would love to see more input from the community saying, hey, there's a traffic light, on this corner that's broken, or hey, we have speeding down our street. What can we do to invest to reduce the speeding there? Things like that. You can email me, text me, call me, and I'll make sure your voices get heard.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. We had a couple people join us and say hello. Hi, Parker. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. He said, good morning. We usually do these broadcasts at 11, but I'm accommodating and we just want to have you on here. So one works great today. And then good afternoon, Dave DeMont. Thanks for joining us.
And I still almost forgot. So sorry about that.
You what?
I still almost forgot.
Yeah, I would have been calling or texting like, hello, I'm here. That's all right. All right. Well, you've got a council meeting tonight. Anything on the agenda that you'd like people to know about?
Yeah, tonight we are confirming the appointment of our new finance director and CFO. So his name is Ezekiel Vasquez. He comes over from the city of Arvada. He was their revenue. I think he was their revenue manager there, and we looked at we as in staff looked at over 50 qualified applicants, and Mr. Vasquez won. So that's really exciting that we get to have a dedicated CFO. Our current CFO has been doing multiple jobs, and if folks don't know, the city charter, this is one of the few positions that we as city council get to appoint. Most of the jobs in the city is brought on by the city manager. But we have 3 employees: city manager, city attorney, and the judge. But this is one of those staff level jobs that we have to appoint or confirm the appointment of. So looking forward to the contributions that Mr. Vasquez can bring.
Yeah, great. That's awesome. And let's see, also want to mention and say thank you for attending our awards gala on Friday night. It's always nice to have such good representation from the city there. You were there along with a lot of the other councilors and the mayor and some city staff as well. So just want to acknowledge that and share our appreciation for you being there. So
It was really great, and I think that was the most I've ever seen. Right? Was that the biggest attendance?
it was, yeah, we were right at 250, which, I don't know that we can fit much more in that space. So we might be capped there for a while, but lots of people. Yeah.
It was like
And
a really professional prom. Everyone
everybody
was
looked
really dapped
great.
up.
Yeah, yeah. Afterwards, we had a couple suggestions that we should do best dressed and some other things like that. So,
You would
but
have
yeah,
won best dress. You would have won best dress.
well, thank you. Yeah. Um, okay, so I have some just kind of random questions, maybe some like get to know Councilor Ezeadi questions. So we'll go with those. We'll start with kind of some city stuff. What is something that's happening behind the scenes in city government that you wish people understood more? Because you guys go through a lot, you do a lot. What do you think that people don't really understand about what you do?
I would say the budget process and how that links to our strategic planning process. I think those two processes, we need to do a better job at educating and putting it out there, because if we had more involvement from the community, I'm sure it would look a lot different, right? Or we would get a lot of great ideas. Um, so I think those two pieces are probably the most important pieces, because those two drive everything, the day-to-day lives of the community.
Yeah.
It's just really hard to make that link, right? Of why the strategic plan and the budget actually impacts your daily life. But if we had more representation there, that would be great.
Yeah. Awesome. And how do you approach a tough decision when the community is split on an issue? What's your approach?
Data. I love data, and voices, right? So I like having a diversity of voices. So people from different backgrounds, people from different areas of the community, right? We have different, Westminster is sneakily large. It's a very large city, and
It's very sprawled out too.
right,
Like it's very weird shaped.
shaped like a beer tap, right? And we have people in all corners of it. Every area of this large city is geographically unique in some way, and those geographies have their own subculture to them, right? And their own challenges and their own needs. So when I think about a divisive issue, I like to figure out what multiple different parts of the city think about it. And I like to get a lot of data, just tons of data that drive the decision. Not just data for the sake of having it, but data that's meaningful.
Mhm.
And as you know, like there's a difference between data and information, right? I like data rather than information, because I think it's up to all of us, not just council, but the community, to take the data and integrate that and synthesize that into information, rather than information being shoved down our face, right? Because oftentimes the information is not based in accurate data that's usable. So I like seeing the raw pieces of things and breaking it down and analyzing it. So that's my process usually.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. And what is one policy or initiative that you think will have the biggest long-term impact on Westminster that you have been working on or have worked on in your tenure on council?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
One project?
Yeah, one policy or initiative. What do you think, like, 10 years from now, when people are like, oh, when Obi was on council, this was one of the biggest things that happened?
I think there's so I'll cheat and say two things. The the one thing I'll say, the first thing I'll say is our police, right? So when my 2021 class came onto council, that council, our police department had 13% vacancy, which was insane. Right? We had a lot of crime. We had a lot of thefts, car thefts, all sorts of stuff happening. Culture was there was a um the sorry, my brain is foggy from class. the the culture within the department was, folks were demoralized, right? There was a demoralizing culture. One of the first things we did in 2022, so we got elected November 21, spring, so I think it was spring 22, we created an incentive program almost, right? That
Oh, looks like we've lost Obi. Let's see. Here we go.
oh,
There we go. You're back.
yeah, so we created an incentive program basically that um brought on that reduced the vacancy from 13 to, I think we're at 1 now, 1% vacancy, which has had a lot of yield there. And we combined that with a lot of work in 2023 for car theft. So we changed 4 city ordinances, or we created 4 city ordinances that really address the car theft issue crisis that was going on. So remember how bad that was,
It was
y'all,
so bad.
right?
Yeah. My
That's
neighbor's car was stolen right from out in front of their house. They started it to get it warmed up, ran back inside, came out, and it was gone.
yeah, it was a pandemic almost of car thefts. There were some state things that changed, but we as a city, we took action and we changed several pieces there that now look at it 1 year after, 2 years after that, it's reduced 50%, right? So from a public safety standpoint, I think that was huge because that freed us almost to focus more on the quality of life pieces and how we can address the affordability, right? So the second thing I'll mention is the water treatment plant. That, as you remember, the water wars, the water rate wars, right, of 2021. 2 years later, we figured out a compromise that reduced rates and brought on a new plant that was desperately needed to keep our clean water, right? So it's health, it's public health there, and it's also listening to the community, and it's also the affordability, right? So those two pieces, I would say, were probably the most significant in the first 4 years.
Got it. Thank you. And Mayor McNally joined us as well. She says hello, so want to say hi to her. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, so my next question is, if you could wave a magic wand and fix one local challenge immediately, what would it be and why?
Any challenge?
Yep.
I would fix the low quality of life for our working class families, and that it's a complicated. There's complicated causes that cause that, right? It's not just one thing that causes that, but I want to make sure that folks who are struggling, folks who are just struggling paycheck by paycheck, who may not have a program that can help them. There are a lot of folks stuck in the middle who don't qualify for a lot of low income or various safety nets that we have as a society. They need a voice and they need a hand and they need a trampoline, is what I call it, right? Where I don't believe in hammocks. I believe that there are trampolines, like where people just need just that one little help, that one piece of help
A
that
little
can
bit.
get them through, right?
Yeah.
And it brings them back to self-sustainability, and it makes them be able to take care of their family. And that's really why we're here, right? We're here to make sure people live healthy lives, get great services, um, are free of crime, free of poverty, free of those things that keep society back. So my wand would be this. My overly complicated answer, Jamie, is to
Okay.
cure, make sure everyone just has the opportunity to thrive.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. And then I'm curious, you've been on council for a while now. I'm wondering how being on council has changed you as a person or as a leader.
The better question would be, how hasn't it? when I came into this, I didn't know a single soul in politics. I didn't know a single person. Um, I knew about city council. I knew about some processes, right? I didn't know everything about it. I took the leap because I felt like we needed more leaders in the world and more leaders locally. So luckily I came on, and I've learned so much from a lot of people, not just the colleagues, right? I learned a lot from Rich Seymour. I learned a lot from the folks who were on that original council. I've learned a lot from the new folks on this new council, from staff. The one thing that surprised me the most was how much staff is, how smart they are. Not that I didn't think they were smart, but they're smarter than I even expected, right? That, wow, they really have their shit together. Sorry for the cursing. But they they understand a lot. So I've learned a lot about how staff works and the different departments within the staff, and how they collaborate with council. And it's been great personally because it teaches you a lot about teamwork. It teaches you a lot about strategy. And my background was in strategy. In the private sector, I went through a whole lot of different roles in the strategic financial function, I'd say. And I still am learning about, about strategic planning within the city. It's so different. The public sector strategic planning is so different than private sector. So I've what it's done for me there is it's developed those gaps for me, on how the public sector strategy planning works. And I've been able to see the great benefits of applying private sector knowledge into that, right? Because you come into council with your background, you come in with your what you've done, where you've been, and those experiences are supposed to add value to the team, right? To the group. So seeing that and seeing other people's background add value, right, from their very different experiences, that's the beautiful part. So if anyone wants to run for office, please reach out to me. I'm always preaching that too. We have a city council election this year, so I can help you. I can give you advice. I have a lot of knowledge there on campaigning and things like that. So if anyone wants to run, reach out.
Awesome. Thank you. And what's one lesson that you've learned the hard way in public service?
um, hmm.
Yeah, putting you on the spot.
I'll say patience.
Okay.
My entire career has been based in, okay, we have to do this. Let's do it right now. Right? Let's go full throttle. Right? But in this role, you have to be patient. I think patience is a key there, and it's patience with people sometimes, right? It's patience with the work itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree. That's a hard lesson to learn for somebody, I think, like you and like me, that just gets an idea and wants to implement right away. And how do we do this? What do we do first? How do we get going? And there's so many steps in between. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have another minute or so. If there's anything else you'd like to mention.
Not really. We do have, we're recognizing 24 youth tonight at council. They were selected for the local recognition by the Adams County Mayors and Commissioners Award, the Youth Award. So that's exciting that we'll get to recognize them in that program. That program are for folks who overcome personal adversity. So that means a lot to me as someone who has personally overcome a lot of adversity in my childhood. So I love it when I see folks who are for positive change in difficult environments. So that will be exciting for if you want to watch that tonight.
Yeah. Well, and as a reminder, if you can't attend council meetings in person, you can watch them live on Facebook, or that's where I always watch them. I assume they're also on YouTube.
Yeah.
All right.
You should live stream. You should live tweet city council meetings, Jamie. And just be just you on the screen, and you're live tweeting what's happening for your audience.
I might have to try that. That's a good suggestion. All right. Well, thank you, Councilor, for joining us today. And we appreciate all your insight as always. And we'll have you back on in a few months here and chat with you some more.
All right. Thank you, all.
Thanks for everybody who joined, and have a good rest of your week.